everybody, and welcome to another episode of Kurt's Angle. I'm Kurt Johansson, and today it's another episode of From the Ground Up, a series that I built and started around the Reach Wrestling Academy here in the UK. And today I've got another guest from the Reach Academy. It's Jaxon Shaw. Jaxon, thank you for coming on.
Hello, thank you for having me.
Nah, really excited. You've been somebody throughout doing all these interviews. You've been giving me your feedback, telling me you've been enjoying it. So it's been one that we've been having in the books, and yeah, good to finally sit down and get to talk about your career so far.
Yeah, definitely.
So we'll just dive straight in. Like, why wrestling? Like, what makes you want to be a professional wrestler?
It's just always been around. When I was a kid, I must have been about 6, maybe 7. My dad's always been into wrestling.
Yeah.
And I'd just remember him talking to me about Ric Flair, Terry Funk, just all those old school 80s wrestlers.
Yeah.
And it just went on from there, really. And then I lived 2 doors across from another lad who was just a couple of years younger than me.
Yeah.
And I met him outside playing as you do. And it turned out he really liked wrestling. And it just grew from there. Like, we'd watch wrestling together. I remember on a Saturday, we'd save up all our pocket money. We'd go to Woolworths and go buy wrestling figures, and we'd just collect all the collectibles. And my love for wrestling just started growing from there.
Yeah. Is it something you've kept your love for throughout growing up? I know plenty of people do the dip out, and then when they get a little bit older, they start appreciating it, or have you just stuck through it?
No way. I've stuck through it. I've had family, I've had friends say to me, "Have you not grown out of it yet?" And it's always going to stick. It's always going to stick with me. It's just amazing sport. I can't stay away from it.
Yeah. What is it about wrestling that you love then? What is it that keeps you like passionate and loyal to it?
I think it is just the entertainment value. Like, I like putting on a good show, whether you like me or you don't. I just like putting on a good show and getting a crowd's reaction.
Yeah. So you've grown up as a wrestling fan. When did you decide, you know what, I'm gonna give it a go. This is what I want to do.
Well, before Reach came about, I've been friends with a wrestler down here called Finney Clay.
Okay.
And I was speaking to him one time, and I was like, I want to get into wrestling. I was like, where do you think I could go to start training? And he told me about Reach Wrestling. He told me about Jason King, Grayson Reeves, and he gave me all the details, and I went. I never really thought about being a wrestler until about 3.5 years ago. Before that, I never really knew anything about the British independent scene.
Okay.
I was always WWE. I never really knew about our local wrestling. But then one time in my hometown of Tavistock, there was a wrestling show, and I was like, I'll go, have a look, see what it's like. And in the main event, there was a wrestler called Big Grizz.
Okay.
And I've just followed him ever since, and it just went from there. Just following everywhere all over the UK of wrestling shows. Okay,
so when did your first interaction with Reach and their academy happen then?
I suppose you like to say, one of the originals. I was there at the very first training session.
Yeah. Okay. So what was it like through this series? Again, want people to get to know the next generation of British wrestlers, but also what it's like to be somebody in the trainee position, hopefully inspiring others that are considering it. So what was it? What was your first session like? You've reached out to them, right? This is it. I'm gonna be going. Maybe taking that first back bump, which is a nightmare. What was that like?
It was sore. Certainly sore. It was a good feeling. I was very nervous meeting all the new people. I was nervous meeting Jason and Grayson. It's just one of them things. I'm quite nervous meeting like new people, I guess, for the first time. But I was I'm a bit more confident now, really. But yeah, it's just nerve wracking, sore, but yeah, overall good, really.
Yeah.
Taking a
So
taking a back bump, I felt for quite a while after.
yeah. And then it's when the flip bumps come into it. And so, how did you feel the day after? You've just had your first training session. You're trying to wake up out of bed. Was you sore? Like, what made you think, right? You know what? I'm still gonna go back. I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna go back to training.
Oh, it doesn't matter how sore I was always going to come back for another training session.
Yeah.
Like just the feel of it was really good, and the fact that how nice Jason and Grayson were to you, like they're very welcoming.
Yeah.
So there was never any doubt I wasn't going to come back. I was going to come back, you know.
Oh, good. So, when was it that you started doing your training then?
When was training? 2000, 2018 it was like July or
Okay.
time.
Okay.
But yeah,
So you've been training for around a year. Finally, make your debut at the first ever Reach Academy show,
yeah.
September 14th, 2019. What was your anticipation for that? Like, you're actually going to be in front of a crowd.
It
How was
was
that?
it was so nerve wracking because one, I got the privilege to be on the first poster of the
Yeah.
show, and I was against Jason King, my coach,
Yeah.
and we were the very first match. So I was the very first academy student to come through the curtain of the very first academy show, and the nerves was bad. Like
Yeah.
I was very very nervous because I felt a lot of pressure being the very first academy student to come through the curtains. So.
Yeah, definitely, and especially working, like you said, your trainer in Jason. Um, how was that match for you? Like, how did you find being in the match in front of the live crowd?
Oh, I loved it. Loved it. I don't think they liked me too much, but is what it is. The match went really good though.
Yep.
So yeah.
What was it like wrestling Jason in your first match then? So instead of being in there with another academy, you're wrestling somebody's experienced as Jason and also your mentor.
Where it's thrown me in the deep end quite quick, isn't it, really?
Yep.
But it was good. I learned so much from being in the ring from him. Like he really, really helped me. Like it was just good as gold, you know. It's very he we were talking about after the match, and he said nothing but good things,
Yeah.
and
So
yeah, it felt good.
what was the best bit of advice after that match you'd been given?
Um,
Or just from Jason in general?
what he just he just said like just keep my head in it, knuckle down. I did good. He just said I did good, and
Yep.
just carry it
Okay.
on, keep working hard, because he can see that I've been working hard, you know.
Yeah. Have
Just
you
keep
had
going.
to change your lifestyle much then? So obviously, training all the time, maybe doing other work as well. How's that been for you doing the adjustments as life as a trainee wrestler?
Um, yeah, I've had to make quite a few adjustments. Obviously, seeing being a parent, and working, like I had to cut my work down a little bit, but it the way I see it is it's worth it in the long run. Like
Yeah.
wrestling's where I want to go in the future. So even if I have to cut just that little bit of that kind of work, it goes towards this kind of work,
Yeah.
which is so important to me.
Yeah. So you're sacrificing one to try and gain in the other.
Yeah.
Um, what's your family's reaction been to that? You mentioned you love of wrestling and it was around your dad and your dad's telling you about Ric Flair, Terry Funk and stuff like that. Like what's your dad's and what's your family's reaction been like?
My dad loves it. it he's gone to all the academy shows, and he's just really got into it. He
Yeah.
absolutely loves it. My mum, she goes, she's supportive, but she knows nothing about wrestling. Absolutely nothing. She couldn't tell me one single wrestler.
Yeah.
But yeah, my dad absolutely loves it.
Does she still get into the shows though?
Yeah,
Yeah.
she does. I think it's mainly to have a bit of a look at the men in pants, really.
uh,
I said to her after the first show, I was like, "So, who did you like?" And naturally, she was like, "Oh, I like that Joey Seven." I was like,
of
"Of course you did."
course you did. Of course you did. So obviously making your debut in 2019, bit like Reach itself, the academy's been growing. Like you said, you've been one of the OGs. You started out with Reach. You was one of the first people there. You was the first academy student having the match on that show. What's your thoughts on the growth of Reach and their academy since you've been there?
Oh, it's been phenomenal. Obviously, we're quite a new academy. Reach is a relatively new promotion, and I think the growth has gone through the sky. Like grown so quick. I think Reach in itself is very well known now right across the UK. Um, the people we've just put on the shows, like we do have the very best in the UK coming to our shows,
Yeah,
and the academy. Everyone just works so hard. Like everyone puts 110% into their training. Like you just cannot fault anyone.
yeah. Now that's one common theme through these series. Everybody speaking about Jason and Grayson, of their support and how much Reach is like a family.
Yeah, very
So
much.
what's it been like? Obviously, I mentioned it earlier with the feedback from Jason after your first match, but from going from that to wrestling more, what's it been like with Jason and Grayson? Like, what support are they giving you to continually grow, and the advice and stuff like that to help your character Jaxon Shaw keep growing?
Oh, like that they give us so much support. It's quite overwhelming. Like if we're training, they are totally into you, and they they do group things. They'll work on things with you solo as well, and just really help you. Like that, they always say that that they are at the end of the phone, and they
Yeah,
literally are. Like you can message them, phone them, have a chat with them just anytime, and they'll give you advice if there's something on your mind. Just give them a message, and they will honestly help every single one of us.
no, that's great to hear, and they keep bringing in some of the best trainers as well. So, like some of the
Oh
guest
yeah,
trainers you've had, how's that been, and who's been some of your favorite trainers so far?
we've had very good trainers in. We've had Joel Redman, Charlie Sterling. We've had Eddie Ryan. We've had Yeston Reese, JD Knight,
Yeah.
uh, Luke Phoenix, which is a personal favorite of mine. Um, Dick Riley. Yeah, just the people they've brought in to help us. Like, yeah, it's amazing. It really is so good.
Yeah,
But
so
Luke Phoenix probably was the one that stood out for me. Like that was a lot of like character base and
yeah.
yeah, so good.
So you mentioned your character and that stood out to you. So what did you actually take from that session with Luke Phoenix then?
The best bit of advice he gave was sometimes little is better than more.
Yeah.
You know, so you don't have to do so much sometimes. Just do like little bits and make it count. You know,
Yeah, no, 100%.
so
So
less is more. You know.
yeah. So speaking of your character, who is Jaxon Shaw? I know you've been going through some changes recently. You was donning the face paint for a short while. Like, talk to us about who Jaxon Shaw is, what was behind that face paint, and if it is something that will be that you'll be continuing after the lockdown is over.
He's he's a bit of a interesting one, is Jackson Shaw. He's always been a lone wolf. Like he doesn't really fit in as such, and he doesn't really care. He's quite happy on his own. He likes his own company. So he's gone through a few changes. He decided to put on some face paint, but you might not see that again.
Okay.
That was um he kind of after losing to Jason went into a bit of a dark place, and he thought that was what was needed, but it might
Yeah.
not be.
Okay. So, what was the changes that came with the face paint? Because I do find it interesting and touching back on what I said previously to try and give other people an insight. With you coming through the academy, it's finding who you are, who Jaxon Shaw is, and you've tried something which you think actually that may not have worked how I wanted to. So, what was the changes you was wanting through Jaxon Shaw, and what made you think actually this isn't going to plan how I feel about it?
Um, I'm just trying to find myself, you know. Or I was, but I'm pretty. This lockdowns gave me a lot of time to think. You know, I've thought a lot, and it's made me realize I am better than what people are seeing,
Yeah.
and I don't need all that face paint. Just strip it back and let my wrestling just speak for itself. I mean, during this lockdown, I've got nothing but time. I'm working out, and I'm probably in one of the best shapes I've ever been in. So
No, that's
there's big changes after this lockdown.
no, brilliant to hear. Like, how have you been finding the lockdown then? You said you've just got yourself in probably your best shape. What's your routine? You can't go training, you can't go to a normal gym. So how are you making sure you're keeping in ring shape, I'm guessing?
Yeah, I'll wake up fairly early, have my breakfast. I'll go out for a run. Luckily, I live on the moors, so I'll just go for a nice run on the moors. Not a single person in sight. Go for a nice 30, 45 minute run, and then just relax, get home, have a just relax a bit, have some lunch, and then I'll do a workout around about 3 p.m.
Yeah.
and that'll be stuff like upper body, lower body, just working out in my back garden.
Okay, brilliant.
And I'll do
So
that like every day.
yeah. So within your fair, like you're just coming up to the end of your first year in wrestling, then with you making your debut. So what has been your highlight so far as somebody coming through the academy shows?
My biggest highlight is probably making the very first poster of the show. That
Yeah.
I felt very honoured.
Yeah.
Like it was very nice that they thought to put me on the poster. So to be honest, that's probably my biggest highlight is just
Yeah.
making the very first poster.
No, it's something I'm sure you've still got it somewhere around the house as
Yep.
a memorabilia. No,
Oh
100%.
yeah.
So on your social media, especially on your Facebook, you use a useless wannabes in the ring episode. And there's
That'll be
been a
coming
couple
back for season 2. That will
that'll
be
be
coming
coming
back.
back. So tell everybody about that. Like, what is it you're doing on your Facebook and why you're doing that? And yeah, just let us know.
Everyone needs to see just how useless some of them are. Like, you know, they're not as good as me.
Yeah.
I mean, granted, things haven't gone my way in the ring so far, but deep down, I know they're not on my level.
Okay.
And some of them are frauds, and they just need to be exposed. And that's exactly what I'm doing.
That's what you're trying to
I'll
do.
just say what's on my mind. People don't like it. How well?
What's the reception, especially with your academy colleagues being like from those episodes?
Some of them's I I got a nice bite from some of them.
Okay.
So they obviously haven't took too kindly to it. But is it? They'll only do it through social media. They won't do it to my face, you know.
So, do you think social media is a good way to be telling the story, especially in independent wrestling, where you haven't got that those weekly shows to organically build to the big shows? So, is that something you're wanting to utilize with your social media to try and
Oh,
help
very,
build stories?
very. One of the most important bits of advice I've got since joining wrestling was network, network, network.
Yeah,
It's very, very, very important to get regular content out, make yourself stay relevant. So that was always one of the biggest things that stuck with me is use social media a lot.
yeah. So, you ended up being on the Good, the Bad, and the Ref using a battle royal. How
Yeah.
was that? How was that for you? Like being in the battle royal?
Well, I got thrown out when I wasn't really ready. But I kind of thought I'd try and use a bit of strategy. As soon as the ring bell went, they all started attacking Carl Parker, which was a bit unfair, really. And I just decided to slide out the ring and hide under it. So I hid under it for a little while.
Yeah.
But
So how was that adjustment for you though? You're going from your first match against Jason, 1-on-1, and then before you know it, you've got a battle royal with countless of bodies in the ring. How do you adjust to that?
um, you got. I kind of did my homework a little bit because obviously there was a lot of people in there. There was some really good top Southwest talent in there
Yeah.
as well. Not, so it was just a case of learning about the ones that wasn't in the academy. Luckily, I already have everyone in the academy summed up. So
Okay. So you mentioned networking, and that's one thing you've got to do, especially to be going on to shows away from Reach. Am I right in thinking is it Ocean County Wrestling,
yeah,
another Rumble? How was
yeah,
that for you?
yeah, that was good. I,
Yeah.
I quite like that battle royal.
Yeah.
Um, there was some people in there that really mixed it up and gave me something. I took quite a few people chopped me, but it was good. It was good. The battle royal wasn't just the only appearance I made in that show.
Yep.
I came out to be supportive of a couple of wrestlers
Yeah.
and came out to the ring. But
Was that your debut for OCW then?
yeah, that
Yeah.
was my favorite. That was my very first time.
So
Yeah.
how did you feel with that? Again, making your debut for a company that's not your home promotion, and it's the first time you're getting out there.
It felt good because it shows that other that other people want me around. Like
Yeah.
it's nice that another promoter thought of me. It was like, who do we want in our show? Going through the list. Oh, Jaxon Shaw, he's doing good. Bring him in. It was just quite nice, and
Yeah.
being in the ring with different people, different experiences.
Yeah. So, what was your feedback from that show then on whether it's the promoter, some of the other guys you was working with, whether it was Jason himself, what feedback did you get?
Um, just to keep a cool head, keep my eye on everyone. Don't turn my back against anyone because you're going to get thrown out
Yeah.
or hit or chopped.
But after the show, like the feedback you've got from yourself, whether it's something you can take on board to improve on, or something that you did really well and you need to kind of stick to that, is there anything that you stood out?
Um, the biggest thing is probably like as you saw me as people would have seen me in September and people would have seen me at OCW and even the Battle Royal at Reach. I wasn't looking in my best shape.
Yeah,
So the biggest thing was just like, even though I'm quite fit, I appearance wise it just wasn't there.
yeah,
So it's just a case of like keep working on you, who you are, working on your body, and just getting in the best shape that I could really.
yeah.
Um,
So obviously, we'll mention the Battle Royal, and there's another big Battle Royal that will be coming up.
mhm.
Hopefully, it can go ahead on 4th of July, but who knows with this lockdown. But it was 728 days later.
Yep.
Reach Wrestling, it'd be first match for the actual main shows on Reach. And not only that, but it's going to be the biggest show in independent wrestling in the southwest of England, the biggest show
Yeah.
outside of WWE. How does it feel? First of all, how does it feel that you're working for Reach that's putting so much into the academy, giving this Academy Battle Royals for everybody to showcase themselves on stage?
It feels good. I mean, it's a good platform to get yourself out there. I mean, if we can get the chance to be out in front of that many people so early on in our career, it just it really does help get our name out there. And the feeling will be good. The feeling
Yeah.
will be very good.
So what was your reaction when you first got told you guys were going to be on the show?
I was a bit speechless because I mean it's such an important show, 2 year anniversary, big show, and just it just came out of the blue. Like I don't think any of us was expecting them to be willing to put us on that show.
Yeah.
So
And I think that does speak. It's a testament to like how much Jason and Grayson are putting in stock for not only young talent but their young homegrown talent. They're giving you those
definitely.
opportunities, and with some of the girls that we'd spoken to, so LA, she'd recently faced Millie McKenzie. Aurora was
Yeah.
supposed to face Millie. Is there anybody on that main roster on Reach that you'd like to have a singles match against?
Yeah, there's one person, like, if someone said to me, who is your dream opponent in the UK?
Yep,
It's Dick Riley.
Dick Riley.
I would
Why?
love to mix it up with Dick Riley.
Okay. Why Dick Riley?
The guy's, he's I think he's such a talent.
Yeah,
Like, I think he'll bring the best out in me. And yeah, I just think it'll be really good. I like how he moves around the ring. I just think, yeah, I think me and him could put on a good show.
yeah. And from the academy guys, who's standing out that when whether it's somebody you've annoyed through these useless wannabes in the ring that you're wanting to prove what he's saying is correct, or if there's any ambitions, whether it's Joey Seven or
Oh yes,
yeah,
yeah. As soon as this lockdown's over, I'm coming for Joey Seven. I'm coming for my belt.
your belt.
It's as simple as that. Yeah, my belt. Like he's keeping it nice for me. He can keep it all shiny, and then when I want to take it, I'm having it.
Okay,
So
big words, big words. So, who else is that's on that list of once this lockdown's over? What are your goals in professional wrestling?
my goals, obviously, my first goal, first priority is to become the Reach Academy champion. Like that's the first goal.
Yep,
Make a name for myself locally. Make a name for myself in the southwest. I'd really like to obviously branch out throughout the whole UK, wrestle all over. There's quite a few promotions I've got my eye on that I'd really like to wrestle for.
yep,
Obviously, Reach heavyweight champion. I mean, why not? I mean, Reach to me is my home. So if I can be the heavyweight champion of Reach,
yep.
why not? Or even the tag team champions.
Okay, so if you used to do the tag team, like you just said, you're a lone wolf earlier on. So who would you want to break that code with to be like, actually, I can rely on somebody?
I got someone that I wouldn't mind teaming up with, and that would be Carl Parker.
Carl. Why Carl?
I understand him. He understands me. There's just mutual respect there, I think.
Yeah. Would you be wanting to do the crotch comb with him?
I mean, I don't know how comfortable that'll be, but never say never, I guess.
Never say never. No. Um, so going back to Reach, like, what's your thoughts on Reach in terms of how big they can grow? Like, again, this 728 days later show it's historic essentially. So, where do you think Reach will be another year's time?
Oh, I mean, we Reach has already grown so fast since they've been going.
Yeah,
I mean, I think from what I've seen, like we're being spoken about all over the country. So if we can keep this progression going, Reach is without a doubt going to be one of the, if not the top promotion in the UK. Like the growth and just what Jason and Grayson are doing is great.
yeah,
Honestly, they have been doing such good shows. You know,
yeah.
they've been getting top talent. So
Yeah, so you mentioned the top talent, and obviously you'll be at the shows helping out and stuff like
yeah,
that. Who is it that you really enjoy watching where you can be like, right, I want to watch that match because I know I can learn something from it?
the top two people I like to watch and learn from is Big Riz. I
Yeah,
mean, he's the reason why I wanted to be a wrestler.
Yeah.
and then Charlie Sterling.
Okay. What is it from those that captivates you to where actually I want to use these to my education?
Well, Big Riz, he doesn't take no nonsense from anyone,
Yeah.
and that that's kind of my mentality. Like, I generally do. I'm not bothered if people don't like me.
Yeah.
Like, I won't stand for any nonsense, and that's just like Big Riz, you know. I mean, granted, he's a lot bigger than me and probably a bit more scarier than me, but I won't take no crap, you know. And with Charlie, like, I just admire the fact that he will do anything it takes to win, and at
Yeah.
the end goal, you want to win, and I just admire that.
Yeah. So who else, like, whilst you're on this, you mentioned your group is a fan of like WWE. I know plenty of wrestlers will go back and watch various people
Hmm.
to do research, and whether it's learning on techniques or character work. Is there anybody else that you think, right, I want to work on some character ideas or some in-ring stuff that you'll maybe get on the network or get on any other video demand service? Who is it?
Yeah, there's a few people that I really like to watch. Obviously, like the person who made me the wrestler, I should say, that made me want to really watch wrestling was Eddie Guerrero.
Okay.
Like, I loved watching him. I still do. I watch his stuff over and over again. Um, Chris Jericho is another one that I really like,
Yeah.
and Dolph Ziggler. I like watch. I take parts of them and I'll
Yeah.
try and blend it into me.
So those three known for their very loud characters, I guess, like very character driven personalities.
Exactly.
How how have you found it so far getting into the ring, but not only having to focus on executing the match, but also trying to make sure your character's getting across and that your character's connecting to the audience, whether that's to be cheered or booed.
Um, yeah, I mean the character thing. I think I have found a bit harder than the wrestling.
Yeah,
It is purely like I've been trying loads of different things, and for me, it doesn't matter how much I change it around. I need to keep changing it until I find something that suits me.
yeah,
But the wrestling, I think I've picked up pretty well, and it's more the character base, and that's where I want to go in the future with it. Is I want to make my presence known,
yeah.
whether that's on social media or in the ring. Like character's a big part of what I
Yeah.
want to be.
So, in terms of like your in-ring stuff, then try and describe to those listening or watching your style of wrestling. Then, because you've mentioned Eddie Guerrero, you've mentioned Ziggler,
Uh,
but you've also have a past for boxing. So, do you incorporate any of that into your wrestling, or
yeah, yeah. Well, I'm a brawler. That's probably what I'd say. I'm a brawler with a bit of technicality about myself, but
yeah,
overall, I'd probably just say like I'm a brawler.
yeah,
Like
okay,
I will get stuck in there no matter how messy it is.
yeah. So, for those that are listening, where can they find you on social media?
On Facebook, I am Jaxon Shaw hyphen wrestler.
Yeah,
Twitter, I'm Jaxon Shaw 9, and then Instagram, I am the underscore Jaxon underscore Shaw.
brilliant. And for those of you listening, what have you got coming up post lockdown, whenever that should end?
Um, the only thing at the moment is obviously July. You've got
Yeah,
the Reach shows. Um, just hoping to show my face there, and I haven't got anything in particular after that yet,
yeah,
but
uh,
fingers crossed.
yeah. And for a parting word to your fellow academy colleagues, you got any words for them?
Just stay out my way because, I mean, I know I'm the best. If you could sum me up to describe me as something, I would describe myself as money, because that's exactly what I am to the business, and just stand out my way so I can get to Joey 7 and take my belt back.
Brilliant. Well, Jaxon, thank you for coming on the show, buddy.
No, thank
Really
you.
excited to see the changes to your character that you will make, and hopefully,
Yeah, it's good
if
changes.
good, and hopefully in July, the show can go ahead because I've got the
You're coming down
tickets.
for a long trip, aren't you?
Oh man, that trip is long. I think it's
That's
like,
dedication, though.
yeah, it's something. I don't know if it's my wisest move being on a coach for 11.5 hours, but yeah, I think it's coming down on the Friday and then going back on the Sunday. 11.5 hours there, 11 hours back, 22.5 hour round trip. Be worth
Nice.
it. It'll
Oh,
be worth
definitely,
it.
definitely.
But now, man, take care during lockdown. Make sure keep getting yourself into shape, and
Oh, yeah, I will.
hopefully, if the show doesn't go ahead in July, then hopefully I can still make the future date. And yeah, looking forward to see what comes
100%.
for you.
Yeah, and thank you. And you be safe as well. And I just want to say congratulations on the baby news.
Thank you. Yeah,
You're welcome.
nah, really excited about that. Big. It's going to be a big year.
It's a big change.
Yeah. No, thank you, Jaxon.
Thank you very much.